사지 콩테다고 라미타 대화 토송 칠라한테 토만의 상태에 잡고 잡지 사지를 따도 주고지 줄을 잡던 좋지 줄을 잡도 때 조고 그들이 나 청을 그들이 봐 그들이 봐잖아 이비를 놓여봐 줘봐요甚至也上这有日本有的，日本人都出来着了，人家上这有当出来着，他中国上过呢，谁这样吃的？别觉得上这出来嘛，当这他给你把去把这上这当日本人嘛，这给你，第有呢，这第二天嘛，我这刚从那落了就告诉我，上这些做的，别人没别叫过的，中康人说怎么中康人去呢？别人给我们是太人了，那么给我们上去，这叫结果不是了嘛？完了都上的，逻辑性的，不做这叫家不的，开始不的，这个头些咋样的？刚刚从来家头个的，这都别从红，这到我讲了，这到就别人去，呀我记了，这个这当地中，哈过了等于上去当地中的哈过了，他当地就开始结果头。다 때리게 탑을라면라더니 다 무슨 거요래 대타고 거는데 역거래
So nowadays many disciples are joining the Yamantaka Drupchen, and so if you have joined the Drupchen, you might remember the opening prayers that we do every day when we take refuge and cultivate bodhicitta in the beginning of the sadhana. And so in the section of the motivation of bodhicitta, the mind generation, it says that out of the cause of ignorance arises the condition that is a wrong view, the condition of a wrong view, a misconception. And so that ignorance here, the cause of ignorance is that we do not understand, we do not know that there is no self. We think that there is an I, that it's me. And so from that, then it says, so this, out of this cause of ignorance, the condition of a misconception arises, and then from that, the aggregate of suffering, which is the body, arises. So first there is ignorance, and then there is attachment, and that fixation, this clinging fixation, this attachment is what creates the body, this aggregate of the body. And once we have created a body, naturally we will be attached to the sensation of bliss, of pleasure, and we will naturally not want to feel any pain. And so this is the aggregate. And then in the text it continues that mind generation Niyamantaka. And in this way, sentient beings are helplessly drowning in the ocean of suffering, the ocean of samsara. For example, even though you live in a country, a very powerful, free country like America, for example, sometimes things happen where there's nothing you can do about, like a natural catastrophe, like fire or water and so on. And then beings are helpless, and many thousands of people lose their lives. And often then the country cannot do anything to save their own people, leave alone the entire world, other countries. So that is this helpless sinking in the ocean of suffering. So we need to seek protection from that. And so it is said that someone who themselves has not become liberated from the ocean of samsara can also not protect others. So that is what we learn in the context of refuge. And that is why we take refuge in the three jewels, because only the three jewels have an ability to grant protection, and no one else has that ability. If you think about it, you will really find that this is true. And so then, how do the three jewels grant protection? So that again comes back to the causes. What causes protection? What the three jewels tell us is that let go of self-grasping and the afflictive emotions. Cultivate an altruistic mind. The altruistic mind is what will protect you. And so then how will the altruistic mind protect one? When you take refuge in the three jewels, and now you must sustain love and compassion. You must increase love and compassion. That is the Dharma. That is what it means to take refuge in the Dharma. So you must not allow to lose your love, your compassion. You must not allow an obstacle, a hindrance, a condition, overpower it. So now you have love, but your love is very limited. And it is easily lost when you encounter a certain condition. So in order for you not to lose the love that you have, you take a vow. Like a samaya. That is why we take a vow, like the Bodhisattva vow. And once you took a vow, you think that even at the cost of my life, I will not forsake love. This love is my only true friend, and I will hold on to it by any means. And if you hold on to it, then even if you are not asking for it, even if you say, I don't want to be born in the higher realms, you will be born in the higher realms, naturally. That's the quality of love. Because if you have love, you will naturally because you have created the root cause for it. So that is why the Buddha speaks of the cause of happiness, or may beings have that cause of happiness. And that is only love. So he said that only sustain love and compassion. And when someone harms you, do not let go of it. Do not lose your love. Ordinary people have love, but they lose their love when others harm them. When you get angry, you lose your love. So your commitment should be so strong that you think that even if someone were to cut off my head, I will not get angry at them. So think like that, because your body is just like an old car. You will have to leave it behind. So what you will not leave behind is your mind. And therefore, it is crucial that you do not lose the love that you have, that you do not spoil it. And in order for you to not lose the love that you have, he never had to do anything. There were actually several lamas who never had to do anything that whole time, just miraculously, really, for no actual reason. And that just naturally happened. They're naturally protected because of the cause that they bring with them. So again, first, we need to develop trust in karma. And if you trust in karma, you will understand the fault of self-grasping. And once you understand the fault of self-grasping, you will then try to find a way to get rid of self-grasping. And then many different methods to do so will unfold.
그래서 다 주고 갑더니 밤살아 세상 차도 주살았더니 삼체 인상 세상의 좀 양생한테 빈 거요리 제 주인들이 강직지랑들이 저쪽으로 빼나 세상의 좀 즉시를 빼서 잡으시는 양성의 편결에 보니 감리들이 매 로파만 뭐지가 모자를 내 아니 이 모자를 내 걸어 총알을 건설 지나나 아니 저기를 되고 아니 제 들이 아니 제 요소를 대대에서들 상태시는 인사를 이 모자를 질 가사가 내 걸어 놓니 다 듣고 속에 모터 칼로를 비사방 못해요 비사게 다 공속도 모터 칼로라 단도 답에 제보지 잠들 칼로와 주배 사망 못해요 고강 눈으로 고배 컨트롤한 콜도 못당겨요 들이 안에 지금 코르테에서 로체데 저진데 되들 모터 가는데 안에 저들이 다다다 그래서 콜로 같이 해요 아버서 들이 정말 다 좋지 보자 칼레 들이 아니 이렇게 고랑 저대로 같이 아니 못하는 맞을 거구나 그게 미치게 간다 내 소리날 것은 아니 칼잘 맞죠 그래 아니 이렇게 뭐 체가만 뭐 코로 빠져be 다른 그뭐 욕성서 아니 공소라가 아니
손을 써 욕성
다 아니야 어떡하면 로마 특발로 그 고잡 못했다는 도서 그 안에 설결이란 말이야 그래서 그걸 미 얘들 콜을 미 못라감 잡지는 파당 코당 못라도 지워 잡지는 당수 시당
그런 수세야지도
그런 라시다 미 못라감 잡지는 코술이 빼자를 라살을 때도 지요 시상 똑치 보다 때도 이 독숨을 라살시와 서질로 독들이 뭐 독들이 이래 여당 인세용나 아니 이래 저 같은 다 뭐라 아니 맞는 샤부고 레요레 지 뭐는 삼인지 돼서 요거들 모두 칼로와들 다 고잡 네 코티 이게 딱 안에서 주는 요도요 말봐 코랑 셔나다 아니 요로메지 아니 실사들이 이 안에서 다 들어지지 시에로 빼대더지 진짜로 독들 이 독들이 끼와 체란 망보를 대치고 말이야 다 양도 다 컨트롤 코르도 못당 다 코게 고소다 세이스도 비체를 빼도 세단들에 놓고도 양도 소리 거고 요래 이때서 세단 집아 독성을 사셔서 질로성 등적만 받지와 체란 못도 다다 세단들이 도상 못지라도 있나 라마게비시나 게기나 강을 전체 파마탐제를 이제와가 참제로 그래 시당 중에 차도 중에 양상도 주인은 이때는 삼제지 하적 자침 뭐 하고래 이 삼제기 용지 양시에요 그래 하고
So what need to be abandoned are our deflective emotions, especially anger and jealousy. And what needs to be adopted or practiced is love and compassion. So it's very important that you remember the faults of these afflictions, especially anger and jealousy, over and over again. There's one example, one story from Tibet that illustrates the destructiveness of anger that might be beneficial to hear. So there was this story about a group of people, a group of Tibetans who were renting a car to go on a pilgrimage all over the place in Tibet, in the Lhasa area. And so they had a driver that they hired, and then there was this group of people, and among them there was a nun, and she had a lot of compassion. So the car was going all over the place, and around and tell him to go here and there and be really rude to him, really offensive. And so they just actually, whenever they could, they would just be really insultive and hurtful towards that driver. And so eventually the driver got really upset and angry. And then the nun felt compassion for him and helped him. And so she was on his side and she helped him. And so one day they came to this big lake. And so then they got out of the car, and when it was time to leave again, then the nun was somehow left behind. And so the driver was in the car and all the other passengers were in the car. And it seemed as though the nun was intentionally left behind, so they just didn't let her in the car and just took off without her. But then what actually happened is the driver drove that car into the lake, committing suicide and taking those other passengers with him. So such is the power of hatred, of anger. And that nun remains unharmed. And that is because of these causes and conditions. She did have that cause of being there, the cause of being there at the time when everyone was meant to die together. That's the karma that they shared. But then the condition was her compassion. And due to that condition, she was spared the suffering. And so this is how the karma then changed in her case. So then the driver knew of her kindness, and he didn't want to take her with him. So he killed himself and everybody else, but not the nun. So there is this prayer where it says, may the 3 poisons
진도